Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu is joining. Tulasi Prabhu. Right. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Okay, here we go. Pranav Prabhu is here. Pranav Prabhu, Tulasi Prabhu, you are there. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay.
Hare Krishna, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Nice
Great.
to see you both. I accept my humble obeisances.
Jai.
Humble obeisances, Prabhupada. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namo. Antakada Vaishnavandaki Jai. Tulsi Prabhu's disciple of His Holiness Kadam Kansa Maharaj from New York is serving in, I think, as a school teacher, their Sunday school, and many other capacities. He's preaching, he's traveling to Europe and other places. Very wonderful to have. He's our also Bhakti Shastri teacher before, so serving in various capacities. Mr. Prabhupada and his spiritual master guidance. So fortunate to have him today. Thank you, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. So we'll continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Kadamba Karnana Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9. Prabhupada pacifies Lord Narasimhadev with prayers. And we will start with verse 20. And I think you mentioned, Prabhu, we can read more than one verse? Or?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay. So text 20. Yasmin yato yarhi yena sa yasya yasmat yasmai yatayat utayas tva aparabharava bhava karoti vikaroti pritak svabhava sanchoditas tat akhilam bhavatasvarupam. Yasmin, in any condition of life, yata, because of anything, Yarhi at any time, past, present, and future. Yena, by something. Cha, also. Yasya, in relationship with anyone. Yasmat, from any causal representative. Yasmai, unto anyone, without discrimination in regard to place, person, or time. Yata, in any matter. Yat, whatever it may be. Uta, certainly. Ya, anyone who. Tu, but. Apara, the other. Para, the supreme. Va, or. Bhavaha, being. Karoti, thus. Vikaroti, changes. Pritak, separate. Swabhava, nature, under the influence of different modes of material nature. Sanchodita, being influenced. Tat, that. Akilam, O. Bhavata, of your lordship. Svarupam, emanated from your different energies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear Lord, everyone in this material world is under the modes of material nature, being influenced by goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone, from the greatest personality, Lord Brahma, down to the small ant, works under the influence of these modes. Therefore, everyone in this material world is influenced by your energy. The cause for which they work, the place where they work, the time when they work, the matter due to which they work, the goal of life they have considered final, and the process for obtaining this goal, all are nothing but manifestations of your energy. Indeed, since the energy and energetic are identical, all of them are but manifestations of you. Purport. Whether one thinks himself protected by his parents, by the government, by some place, or by some other cause, everything is due to various potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything that is done, whether in the higher, middle, or lower planetary systems, is due to the supervision or control of the Supreme Lord. It is therefore said, Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papataye. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul within the core of everyone's heart, gives inspirations for action according to one's mentality. All of these mentalities are merely facilities given by Krishna to the person acting. Bhagavad Gita therefore says, Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Everyone works according to the inspiration given by the Super Soul. Because everyone has a different goal of life, everyone acts differently, as guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Yasmin Yato Yarhi Yena Cha Yasya Yasmat indicate that all activities, whatever they may be, are but different features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of them are created by the living entity and fulfilled by the mercy of the Lord. Although all such activities are non-different from the Lord nonetheless directs Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. When we accept this direction from the Lord, we can actually become happy. As long as we work according to our material senses, We are in material life, but as soon as we act according to the real transcendental direction of the Lord, our position is spiritual. The activities of bhakti, devotional service, are directly under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narada Pancharatra states, Sarvo upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. When one gives up materially designated positions and works directly under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's spiritual life is revived. This is described as Sarva Rupena Avastiti. Svarupena Avastiti, being situated in one's original constitutional position. This is the real description of mukti, or liberation from material bondage. Okay, one more time the verse. My dear Lord, everyone in this material world is under the modes of material nature, being influenced by goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone from the greatest personality, Lord Brahma, down to the small ant, works under the influence of these modes. Therefore, everyone in this material world is influenced by your energy. The cause for which they work, the place where they work, the time when they work, the matter due to which they work, the goal of life they have considered final, and the process for obtaining this goal, all are nothing but manifestations of your energy. Indeed, since the energy and energetic are identical, all of them are but manifestations of you. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaiti girim yat kripatamaham vandi Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So here we are in the middle of one of the most amazing pastimes on the pages of Bhagavatam. And we are speaking about one of the most unique avatars of Krishna. Krishna, it is said, he appears in between all the different living species of life, in between the human beings, the demigods. He appears in the society of the animals, of the fishes. But here, he appears in a form which were never seen before. We have some idea in our mind how a human being looks like, or how a beast looks like, or a fish. We have some idea. We have seen all these different forms created by the Lord. But nowhere ever seen this incarnation of Narahari Rupa, half lion, half man. That was something unique, something very, very special for the people to see. So we can pray to Lord Narasimhadev as we often do. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namas Tejas Tejas Ei Avirbhava. Please manifest yourself with your power, with your transcendental power. Be present here. Vajranaka Vajradamshtra Karma Shayanu Randaya Randaya. Please, with your very, very sharp nails and your very, very, very sharp teeth, destroy Karma Shayan, destroy all my desires, fruitive desires, material desires. Please remove them from my heart. Tamo grasa grasa swaha. Please destroy the ignorance in my heart. The ignorance that is pushing us to do so many things which are actually not in our ultimate benefit. Abhayam, abhayam, atmani bhushtam kshom. And please make me fearless. Make me fearless so that I can surrender to you. So that I can make you the real goal of my life. This is one of the beautiful prayers that Prahlad Maharaj offered to Lord Nrsimhadev. And now here in the midst of other prayers that he offered, in the last verses we learned how after Nrsimhadev is killing Hiranyakashipu, he was in this very, very angry mood. Nobody could pacify the Lord. Even the greatest of the demigods, they were afraid even to come closer to the Lord. And when they asked Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, to approach her husband and pacify him, Lakshmi Devi, she said, well, this may be Vishnu, but I never saw him in this mood. This mood is very, very far from my mood in which I'm used to seeing him. And also this form, it's a very fearsome form. So, no, let someone else go and pacify him. And then finally they asked Prahlad Maharaj, and he came close to the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord touched him with his lotus hand on his head. And Prahlad Maharaj was empowered to offer these amazing prayers, beautiful prayers, and prayers which are actually describing the real nature of the Lord, the real transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. So in this verse particularly, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking how everyone in this world is under the influence of the modes of the material nature. Either goodness or passion or ignorance, but one way or the other, everyone is influenced by the energy of the Lord. No one is independent. No one can do whatever he wants to do. We are constantly pushed by the modes of the material nature to act in a certain way. There is a interesting verse from the Puranas. It says that every living entity in this material world in the morning is pushed by the strong urge to go to the toilet. At noon, he is pushed by the urge to drink and eat. And in the evening, he is pushed by the urge to engage in sexual relationships. So this proves how we are not independent, how all the time we are under the modes, we are under the influence of the material nature. And Prahlad Maharaj is offering other prayers which are explaining how in this material world, again, nobody is independent. Everyone is carrying a big burden. What is this burden? The burden of bad habits, the burden of being tortured by lust all the time, by anger, by greed, by envy. And all these qualities, they make our life very miserable. And we cannot really do much about it. This is the position of the conditioned living entity in this material world. Then Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that all these manifestations, good or bad in the material world, still they are manifest by the energy of the Lord. And because there is no difference between the energy and energetic, ultimately they are coming from the Lord Himself. In Bhagavad Gita, we are learning that our mind is very difficult to be controlled, and our lower tendencies are also very, very difficult to be controlled. But Krishna is saying it is possible to do it. In other words, although everything comes from the Lord, and although everything is directly or indirectly controlled by the Lord, still we should learn to discriminate between good engagements and bad engagements, between good dharma and bad dharma. From material perspective, we know there are two kinds of dharma or duties or activities, good and bad. So it is very important that one cultivates such a character that he is always engaged in good activities and he avoids the bad activities. A few days ago, we were listening a Bhagavatam class here in the temple, and lecturer, he explained that there are a few different kinds of uh, unfavorable dharma or unfavorable engagements that we have to give up. So one of those kinds of dharma that we have to give up is dharma or sinful activities. We should never engage ourselves in sinful activities because this creates the degradation of the living entity in the material world. Even from material perspective, we will degrade. We will be living predominantly in ignorance, which will cause so many problems and anxieties and sufferings in our life. Then another kinds of dharma that we have to give up is paradharma. Paradharma means superior dharma or superior duty. One should know his duty and act accordingly, even if the result is not the best. Even if the result is not the best, this is what one should do. Why? Because if you perform the dharma of someone else, it is dangerous. It can create bad reactions on you. So we should always know what is our duty and perform our duty and not try to occupy the duty of someone else. Then another kind of dharma that we have to give up is there is something which is called upadharma. These are not the real religious principles, but sub-religious principles. They are helping you to achieve the real dharma, to understand the real duty of the living entity, which is Krishna Bhakti, service of Krishna. But even from material perspective, there are the main duties that we have to perform in our life, and there are sub-duties, duties that we do in order to help us to reach the real duty, real activities. So if someone decides, if someone says, oh, but actually no, this is the real religion, these are the real duties I have to perform, this upadharma, then he is cheating himself. Why? Because he is engaged in a less activities than what he can do and what he is supposed to do. Like, for example, someone is a sportsman and he has to run, let's say, every day 5 miles to keep a very good shape, sport shape. But now he's cheating himself and he's saying, no, 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 it's fine. I can actually do even 1 mile. But if I do it very consciously, it will benefit me. But it's not like that. You need a certain engagement, time-wise, and certain intensity of the exercise so that you achieve a certain result. The same thing in our life. If we cheat ourselves that just by doing these sub-religious principles, I will actually get the result from the real religious principles, it's not going to work like that. So this upadharma also, it can be used, like a crunches in the beginning of spiritual life, but once one becomes qualified to follow the real religious principles, he should not cheat himself. And then the other kind of dharma that one should give up is kaitava dharma, or cheating religious principles. Someone comes to you and tells you, oh, no need to do any austerity in spiritual life, no need to do anything difficult. Just come to my seminar for 1 week and you only have to pay $1,000, and for 1 month I'll make you God. Believe me, because I have the power to do it. And then we want to believe it because we don't want to go through the real path, which is a little bit difficult. There are a little bit hardships to go through the real path of Dharma. So we say, oh, this looks like the easy way to do the same thing. Okay, let me do it. And then we are ready to be cheated. As Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to be cheated, you will find a cheater and he will cheat you. So it is very important to be sincere and to want to practice the real Dharma, real religious principles. So like that, everything is coming from God, and still, although everything is coming from God, religion and all these kinds of irreligion, one should use his intelligence, his discrimination, and one should use the knowledge of Shastra so that he can follow the real religious principles. And from the highest perspective, real religious principle means surrendering to God. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining so many things to Arjuna, so many different kinds of yoga, different kinds of practice, gradual process, indirect process, direct process. But then at the end, he gives the conclusion, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. The most important thing is to engage in loving devotional service to me. And if you do that, this is the real success in life. Bhakti mam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tat anantaram. Just by engaging in bhakti, one can understand the Supreme Lord in truth. And if we really understand the Supreme Lord in truth, natural consequence will be that we will start serving Him with love and devotion. If someone is serving with love and devotion to Krishna, it means he already have understood all the conclusions of Shastra, all the conclusions of Dharmic scriptures. But if someone is not serving the Supreme Lord, then what is the use of his or her knowledge? It means still he doesn't know the Supreme Lord in truth, tattvataha. Still, his knowledge is partial, is not complete. Why? Because the culmination of the whole knowledge is Krishna Bhakti, serving with love and devotion, serving to Krishna with love and devotion. So if someone is really advanced in spiritual knowledge, if someone is really understanding the real Dharma, he will do devotional service. He will serve Krishna. And at the end of this purport, Srila Prabhupada is giving interesting, it's a famous verse from Narada Pancharatra, which is one of the definitions actually of pure bhakti. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So in order to perform real bhakti, first class bhakti, pure devotional service, two things are very important. One should give up all his material identifications. All these material identifications that they make us identify with the material world, with the material body, with the material modes, with the material situations. One should understand I am not all these things. I am not man, I am not a woman, I am not young or old, strong or weak, intelligent or dull. I am not all these things. I don't have anything to do with matter and material world. Then who am I? Oh, actually I'm eternal part and parcel of Krishna. I'm eternal servant of Krishna. So if one manage to cultivate knowledge and understand his real position, spiritual position, and give up all upadi, Srila Prabhupada is he's translating upadi as designated positions. One should give up materially designated positions. Oh, I'm big boss of a company and I have 1,000 people working under me. Oh, I'm the man of this wife and she has to listen to me. I'm the mother of these kids and they have to always do whatever I tell them. All these are material upadis. We are put temporary in some situation in the material world for a while, and temporary we are in a position of some kind of controller and some kind of enjoyer. But we are not all this. We are not any of those material situations and positions. Actually, we are eternal servants of Krishna. And if we really understand this, then Hrishikena, Hrishikesha Sevanam, the same point. Then we will engage our senses in service of the master of the senses, Hrishikesha. Sevanam, we'll do service. What kind of service? Bhaktir, with love and devotion. So, again, if we really understand who are we, the outcome of this should be that we engage our time with loving devotion. We are doing something practical for Krishna. Anything. We can hear the holy names of Krishna or chant them. We can read stories about Krishna or discuss them with other people. We can cook beautiful food for Krishna or offer this food and then share it with other people. We can go to the temple and engage ourselves in service of Krishna, just like Ambarish Maharaj is the great example of engaging everything that he has in service of Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor pacham sivai kunta gunanu varnane karao harimandira marjanadishu shrutim chakara chutam satkatodaye. Ambarish Maharaj always, he would start his day with engaging his mind in thoughts of Krishna. He would first fix his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, Krishna Padara Vindayor. And then he will engage all his other senses in the service of the Lord. He would use his ears to listen Krishna Katha. He would use his mouth to speak about Krishna. Ah, done. He would use his body to touch the bodies of the devotees, and in this way purify himself. He would smell the flowers offered to the Lord, and he would taste with his mouth the Tulasi manjaris offered in the lotus feet of the Lord. He would use his feet to go to the temple of the Lord. In our case, maybe we can use our car, jump in the car and go to the temple of the Lord and take darshan. And he would use his desires to desire service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kamam chadasya natukama kamyaya. He will never desire something for himself, something for his personal benefit, for his personal sense gratification, for his personal glory. Rather, he would use his desires to desire something beneficial for the Supreme Lord. So Sri Prabhupada is saying, if we are situated in this way, if we are always using our senses to serve the master of the senses, this means we are Jivan Mukta, we are liberated personalities. Mukti hitvanyata rupam svarupena vyavastiti. If someone is able to give up all other designations, all other rupas, forms, and he accepts only one form, only one idea of his life, that I am servant of Krishna, I am eternal servant of Krishna, svarupena vyavastiti. If he is situated in this way, this is mukti, this is liberation. And such a person, he is always liberated, although still he may be in this world in a so-called material body. But actually his material body is not material body. Because material nature or spiritual nature, both are natures of the Lord. Ultimately, there is one nature, there is one energy, and this is the energy of the Supreme Lord. And he can transform this energy as material or as a spiritual, as he desires. Like Srila Prabhupada is giving the famous example that electrician, he can use the same energy to create both cooling effect and heating effect. So in the same way, sometimes energy of the Lord is acting in a heating way and is giving us trouble so that we forget the idea that we can be happy and satisfied separately from the Supreme Lord in this material world. And sometimes energy of the Lord is giving us cooling effect. The moment when we really decide to surrender to the Supreme Lord, then at that moment the energy of the Lord is facilitating us. The energy of the Lord at that moment acts as Subhadra Devi. She is the most auspicious. Why? Because she is giving you everything that you need for the service of the Lord. Whatever required, you get it. Like yesterday, I was talking with a senior devotee, and he was sharing something uh, very interesting. He was sharing how even if all of us, we get all our spiritual credit, our punya together, all of us, all the members of ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness, and we try to materialize this punya, this spiritual activity, we won't be able to get even maybe 1/10 or even 1/100 from what Krishna gave to Srila Prabhupada. All these huge building, opulent places, Krishna gave them to Srila Prabhupada just like that for whatever, 5-10 years. So many huge buildings like our temple here in Brooklyn and LA, and so many farms, and Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan and Juhu Temple and Mayapur, so many amazing places Krishna gave to Srila Prabhupada so fast. Why? Because he was completely surrendered. He didn't have any other desire in his mind except to serve Krishna with full dedication, with full focus, and with full purity. So this devotee, he was saying, even if all of us, all the members of ISKCON now, which are a lot, I would say ISKCON easily has more than 1 million members, maybe even much more than 1 million. But let's say, even if all of us, we get all our punya, all our spiritual credit together, it won't come even closer to what Srila Prabhupada could offer to Krishna. Okay, so let's read the next verse also. Verse 21. Maya manasrijati karma mayam baliya kalena chudita gunanumatena pumsa chando mayam yat ajayarpita shodasaram samsara chakram ajako titaretvam anya. O Lord, O Supreme Eternal, by expanding your plenary portion, you have created the subtle bodies of the living entities through the agency of your external energy, which is agitated by time. Thus the mind entraps the living entity in unlimited varieties of desires to be fulfilled by the Vedic directions of Karma Kanda. Fruitive activity and the 16 elements. Who can get free from this entanglement unless he takes shelter at your lotus feet? If the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everything, where is the question of being liberated from material engagement to spiritual, blissful life? Indeed, it is a fact that Krishna is the source of everything, as we understand from Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. All the activities in both the spiritual and material world are certainly conducted by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the agency of either the material or the spiritual nature. As further confirmed by Bhagavad Gita 9:10, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Without the direction of the Supreme Lord, material nature cannot do anything. It cannot act independently. Therefore, in the beginning, the living entity wanted to enjoy the material energy and to give the living entity all facility. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, created this material world and gave the living entity the facility to concoct different ideas and plans through the mind. These facilities offered by the Lord to the living entity constitute the 16 kinds of perverted support. In terms of the knowledge-gathering senses, the working senses, the mind, and the 5 material elements. The wheel of repeated birth and death is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but to direct the bewildered living entity in progress towards liberation according to varied stages of advancement, different directions are given in the Vedas. Chandomayam. If one wants to be elevated to the higher planetary systems, he may follow the Vedic directions, as the Lord states in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitri vrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mat yajinopimam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth amongst the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth amongst such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. The real purpose of the Vedas is to direct one back home, back to Godhead. But the living entity, not knowing the real goal of his life, wants to go sometimes here and sometimes there, and do sometimes this and sometimes that. In this way, he wanders throughout the entire universe, imprisoned in various species and thus engaging in various activities, for which he must suffer the reactions. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Brahmanda Brahmite kon Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya, Bhakti Lata Bija. CC Madhya 1951. The fallen conditioned living entity, trapped by the external energy, loiters in the material world. But if by good fortune he meets a bona fide representative of the Lord who gives him the seed of devotional service, and if he takes advantage of such a guru or representative of God, he receives the Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed of devotional service. If he properly cultivates Krishna consciousness, he is then gradually elevated to the spiritual world. The ultimate conclusion is that one must surrender to the principles of Bhakti Yoga, for then one will gradually attain liberation. No other method of liberation from the material struggle is at all possible. So again, we are caught in this material existence, and our mind is creating all these phantasmagorias, all these dreams. Oh, you can be happy in this way, you can be happy in that way. But at the end of the day, reality is what it is. It doesn't matter what kind of dreams we have in our mind. Like, this story, I have different versions of this story, but about this man that he had some flower, and he was thinking in his mind, okay, now I'll do this with my flower and I'll do that with my flower. And at some point he was thinking, if someone comes and wants to take it from me, then I'll kick him. And then by chance, instead he kicked the pot with the flower, and the flower went all the way everywhere. So then he came back to his senses, he came back to reality. So this is very often what we do. Our mind is our tool, our instruments to imagine so many things. I'll be happy in this way, I'll be happy in that way. We try to create future in our mind, and we really want to experience this. But guess what? Sometimes it happens because we have the karma for this, but sometimes it does not. And sometimes we are very, very happy. Sometimes we are suffering, but it's all already predestined from our karma, from our previous activities. As Prahlad Maharaj is saying to his demoniac classmates who became devotees after that, Sukama indriyata daitya dehyogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate daivat yata dukham ayatnataha. We have the experience that we don't want suffering in our life, but this suffering is coming already. So many times we are getting sick, so many times our mind is disturbed, so many times we are harassed by other living entities, by nature. We don't want this, but it comes in our life and we cannot do anything about it. So in the same way, exactly the same way, so many good things will come in our life, so much happiness, because we did something good also in our previous existence, in our previous life. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj is saying one should not worry so much about this so-called material happiness and so-called material distress, because they are temporary and they are all the time changing, just like the seasons in the year. Rather, one should use his human form of life and his human intelligence and his human energy to make a rapid spiritual advancement. That's why Kaumara Acharet Pragya. From the year of 5, from very tender age, one should use his body and his mind and his energy to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the real solution of the problem we are caught in this situation, this material situation, and it looks like there is nothing much that can be done. And yes, from material perspective, nothing can be done. But if someone is very, very fortunate and he meets a sadhu, a pure, real representative of God, a spiritual master, this can change everything. By his mercy, one can get the seed of devotional service. What is the seed of devotional service? This is the process of bhakti yoga. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam padasevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam. One gets the opportunity to engage in direct bhakti, direct devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And if someone is doing this, then gradually he will become a liberated person. Srila Prabhupada is saying, the ultimate conclusion is that one must surrender to the principles of bhakti yoga, for then one will gradually attain liberation. No other method of liberation from the material struggle is at all possible. I heard an interesting class, and the speaker, Sannyasi, he was explaining that this is the difference between Madhyama devotees and Kanishta devotees. Kanishta devotees, they want first to see the mercy of Krishna, and then they are ready to surrender. Krishna, first, you show me that you are here, you show me that you are part of my life, you create some good fortune in my life, and only then I'll surrender to you. Why? Because they don't have strong enough faith to surrender unless they see the miracle. They need a miracle in their spiritual life. But the Madhyama devotees, they are different. They have already such a strong faith that they are ready to follow the process, and they have the faith that I don't know what actually will come from this, but I'm sure it will be something nice. It will be something beneficial for me. And that's why Madhyama devotee, he is surrendering to the process of devotional service. He is ready to mold his life in such a way that bhakti, it takes most of his time or very, very, very big part of his time from his life. Why? Because he knows if I invest in this, I'll get something good out of it. If a businessman is investing and he doesn't feel that the deal will be good, he would never invest his time and energy in it. But if he has a strong faith that this will be a good deal and I will make lots of money, then he will be ready to put his energy. So in the same way, a Madhyama devotee, because he has a strong faith, he has seen already enough miracles in his spiritual life. He sees that the process of devotional service works, so that's why he is ready to completely surrender, to mold his life in such a way that this is the main thing in his life, bhakti, devotional service. And then, once Krishna is satisfied from his endeavors, Krishna, who is personally present in our heart, he purifies our heart from within. Shushrutu Shradadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syamahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. By associating with such a great Vaishnavas, we develop desire to listen about Krishna. Shrimvata Svakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyantasto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam. And when we are listening sincerely about Krishna, in other words, when we are following the outright process of bhakti, gradually Krishna, who is within our heart, being satisfied with our endeavors, he will purify our heart from all the contaminations. Vidunoti Suhritsatam. Everything inauspicious will disappear from our heart. Why? Because Krishna is Suhrit. He's our best friend. And he actually wants to purify our heart. He wants us to come back to our original position when we can have nice, pure, loving exchanges with him in the spiritual world, back in Goloka. Hare Krishna. So these are two verses we have discussed from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, and now I will open for any questions or comments or reflections if you have. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, dear devotees. Anyone has questions, comments, reflections?
I have a question, Krishna Prabhu. Should I,
Go ahead, Jagdish.
somebody raise a hand or should I ask?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Tulasi Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Prabhu, I have one question. Like you mentioned that paro dharmo bhaya bhaya, right? Like do your, even with the faulty, keep on doing your own karma rather than doing others perfectly. So can you elaborate on that, some few examples to easily understand that?
Yes, why we shouldn't do paradharma, the duty of someone else. Sometimes someone is qualified to do something. He is expert in some activity. For example, you have a good memory and you can remember things and you can tell them to other people. And just because you have a good memory and you can remember things, and immediately you start thinking, oh, I'm very much qualified to be a teacher. Actually, I can become Jagat Guru. I can become teacher of the whole world. But you know, to do a duty, two things are required. One thing is the skill to do some duty, some activity. And the second thing is the character, the proper attitude. And from both things, the attitude is more important. Activity, you can learn quite fast. Like even if you are not good in something, if you put enough endeavors, you can become quite good in it. But the character to develop a certain qualities that makes you qualified for this job, it's not certain. This may take very long time, and still one may not be able to develop these qualities. Like for example, someone doesn't have the qualities and character to be a teacher, a brahmana, but he decides, no, why I have to be a shudra? I will take the responsibility of teaching. What is the problem? And he is doing externally the job, like he is learning the lesson and he is teaching others. But for example, if he doesn't have the proper attitude, the proper character, he won't be tolerant, he won't give enough time for the students to grasp the subject matter. So he'll be rushing them, he'll be getting angry at them, he'll be chastising them unnecessarily. And in this way, the transmission of knowledge between teacher and disciple will become very difficult. So like that, everyone has a dharma to perform, and one should not go to the dharma of others, especially higher dharma, paradharma. Sometimes Shastra is saying that in a certain situations, one can make exceptions in emergency situations. Like for example, someone who is a brahmana, sometimes he may take to the duty of kshatriya. Like for example, Duryodhana, he was a kshatriya and he was fighting. And Dronacharya, he supported him, but Dronacharya actually he was not a kshatriya, he was a brahmana. But because it was a moment of emergency and he took to fighting, and he was fighting as a kshatriya during the Kurukshetra war. But that was exceptional situation. But in general, one should not perform the dharma of others because it will be dangerous. It may be degrading. He may act in a wrong way towards others, and he can create many offenses, even sinful activities, and this will damage his progress in life. So that's why we need both things. We need the skill and we need the character to perform a certain duty. but out of those, the character is more important. If you don't have the character to do the dharma of someone else, don't do it because you'll be in trouble. Now, let's say someone may be born in a family of Shudras or whatever, Vaishyas, but he can act steadily as a Brahmana. He can be very good at teaching, transmitting knowledge, and have the proper character and qualities to do it. Then, okay, according to our philosophy, he can be accepted as a Brahmana and he can do this duty. But this should be authorized by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Your spiritual master should come and tell you, okay, actually, I think although you are born as a mlecha in the Western world, I think you have the qualification to do a Brahmana duty. So I am actually empowering you. I am making you qualified to do it. Now do it. It should be authorized. It should not be whimsical, as in the verse it is said. Just because of the speculation of our mind, we decide we are this one or we are that one. And then suddenly in our dream, we kick the pot with the flower and the whole thing is over. All our dreams are gone. So we shouldn't do that. Hare Krishna, is that okay?
Yeah, Prabhu, very nice, Prabhu.
Thank you.
But to top of that, can I ask one more or somebody raise the hand? I can wait for others.
Go ahead. Nobody else has raised.
Okay. So top of that, Prabhu, like we see even some devotees not have instructions from his guru, or even he doesn't know who are the guru role. He just I say the future devotee. He is not even initiated, nothing. So who going to tell them, hey, this is your duty, but they do their own whimsical or they're liking simply, and they're doing their own way and creating the mess up or some way success also. We don't know. Even have no guru told them, but they are doing their own. So how to understand them?
Okay.
Please,
Well, you know, Vedic system is very systematic, and in Vedic system you always act under authority. So when it comes to spiritual life, authority is clear. Authority is Shastra, authority is Guru, authority is the senior devotees or the temple president. These are all authorities in our life. So on one level or the other, we should become authorized. It can be from the Guru or it can be from the senior devotees. They see you have some qualification and they say, oh, we want you to help us with this and this and this in this way and this way. So they create your authorization in this way. This is in spiritual life. Now in the material life, you may have also other authorities, like for example, mother and father are natural authorities, or let's say if you live in a village, there will be definitely some brahmanas in the village, so there will be authorities, they will see your character. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining the process, how the varna was fixed. The father, the teacher of the kid, and some of the senior members of the village, the brahmanas, they will get together, they will have like a council, and they will see a certain kid and they will see, obviously he is brahmana, so he has to do brahminical duties, or he is a kshatriya and he has to do a kshatriya duty, so he is coming from this background. But sometimes if, let's say, there is some difference, and let's say someone is from Brahminical family, but he is not acting as a Brahmana, they'll give him a chance. They'll tell him, okay, we are giving you 1 year to come back to the proper standard of Brahminical lifestyle. And if you do that, then you will be Brahmana. But let's say if the kid fails to do that and he's still acting on a lower platform, meaning he doesn't follow the proper standards of Brahminical lifestyle, let's say he's acting on the Vaishya level or Shudra level, then they will fix this and they'll say, okay, so actually, although you are coming from you're born in a Brahmana family, you don't act in this way. So let's say you will be Shudra or you will be Vaishya and you have to perform this set of duties. So like that, always authority, both materially or spiritually, is helping us to make this decision. Because in spiritual life, if you don't have authority, if you are not authorized, what are you doing? You are not doing anything. Like bhakti begins with authorization. In the definition of bhakti, it is said, anushilanam. Devotional service should be activity which is authorized by Guru Parampara, by Guru Sadhu and Shastra. And if our activity is not authorized, then it's not bona fide. Of course, even someone before knowing the devotees, he may just read the books, let's say. He can read the book of Srila Prabhupada and read there. We are eternal servants of Krishna and we have to always chant Hare Krishna and read Shastra and trying to find a bona fide guru, and he may immediately accept these spiritual duties. By being authorized through the books of Acharya, he becomes empowered and he starts doing it. Okay, let me chant Hare Krishna. Let me read Bhagavat Gita every day. But in practical terms in our life, we do need authorities. We do need people who are helping us to make the important decisions in our life, and they are helping us how to act properly in spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay.
I think that's about it, I think. Thank you very much, Tulasi Prabhu.
Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind time and attention, and hope to see you soon. Maybe on Ratha Yatra, if you can come. 14th of June, Washington Square Park. Join us. 50th Ratha Yatra this year. Special anniversary. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi.
Hare Ribo. Jai.
Jai.
See you for Radha Yatra, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Okay, quick announcement. Please join for Sunday Feast program today evening. Sunday school's presentation today evening. So please join and inspire them. And Radha Yatra is June 14th. Snana Yatra is Lord Jagannath Snana Yatra actually is June 10th. Tuesday, yep, actual day. And then we'll also have CNJ Snana Yatra June 15th, Sunday. June 8th is, I think June 8th. Lord Jagannath, Chidadahi, Panihati, Danda Mahotsav, Lord Nityananda Mercy to Raghunath Das Goswami. Then next Friday is Ekadasi, 23rd, Apara Ekadasi, I think. So that is what, June 31st or 1st Sunday, Gaurang Prabhu will be giving Sunday Feast class. So June 26th is actual day Radha Yatra, Thursday. And then June 28th is Atlantic City Radha Yatra, Saturday. Please mark it and be available. A lot of services. Take the opportunity to pull the Rath and bring something, offering, Bhoga. Any Radha Yatra, our Radha Yatra or New York Radha Yatra, always. So there's a great opportunity to engage in some service. So those are the quick announcements. See you all in the evening. Hare Krishna.
पतितानां पावने
वनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः थैंक यू हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण